Dean is here too. He asked the first question. I'll just read it the way he presented it to me.
Right.
He said, in addition to trying to follow Bhagavan's teachings, I'm a longtime frequent viewer of classic movies and a reader of fiction. Okay. Would the best course for followers of Bhagavan be to continue activities such as these, as usual, not to change anything, but to try to maintain awareness of oneself instead, the watcher or the reader, when doing these activities? Would it be better instead to curtail activities that traditionally take one out of oneself?
Taking interest in anything other than ourselves is a distraction. It draws our attention away from ourselves. But we have to be realistic and practical in this. We all come to this spiritual path with strong Vishaya vasanas. Vishaya vasanas means the inclination to seek happiness in Vishayas. Vishayas means objects or phenomena. In other words, anything other than ourselves. So it is the very nature of ego to always be attending to things other than itself. So self-investigation is swimming against the current, so to speak. We are going directly against the nature of ego. But though it is against the nature of ego, we are attuning ourselves with our real nature, which is just being. So this spiritual path is not a walk in the park. We have to overcome all our Vishaya vasanas. Vasanas have no strength of their own. What strength the vasanas have is what strength we give them. And we give vasanas their strength by feeding them. That is, the more we allow ourselves to be swayed by any Vishaya vasana, the stronger that Vishaya vasana will become. That is just the nature of the nature of these things. So we need to slowly wean our mind off its Vishaya vasanas. But we cannot do this all at once. That is, we have so many Vishaya vasanas. If we try to forcibly, for example, you say you're interested in watching classic movies and reading fiction. If you try forcibly to avoid such activities, your mind will find something else to take interest in. So we have to be practical and realistic about this. Our aim is to gradually wean our mind off its Vishaya vasanas. In other words, to weaken the Vishaya vasanas by not allowing ourselves to be swayed by them. The most effective means to do so is by being self-attentive. That is, we ourselves are not a Vishaya. We are Sat, we are being. So the love to attend to ourselves is what is called Sat Vasana. That's the inclination to hold on to our being and thereby to be as we actually are. So the whole spiritual path is a battle within our own will between the Sat Vasana on one hand and the Vishaya vasanas on the other hand. The Vishaya vasanas, as I say, the Vishaya vasanas are not ego, but it is the nature of ego to have Vishaya vasanas. So this is up to the vasanas will not be entirely destroyed until ego is destroyed. So this spiritual path, it is a struggle till the end. We need to cultivate more and more love to hold on to our being, and to the extent to which our love to hold on to our being and thereby to be as we actually are, to the extent that that increases, the Vishaya vasanas will decrease, they'll grow weaker. So if we try and forcibly stop one type of Vishaya vasana, another type of Vishaya vasana will tend to come in its place. So rather than, obviously there are some Vishaya vasanas are more harmful than others. So we need to try first of all to that is, if we know any Vishaya Vasana is particularly harmful, we should try to avoid being swayed by that Vishaya Vasana. There are many Vishaya Vasanas, but they're not particularly harmful in themselves. But all Vishaya Vasanas, if we allow ourselves to be swayed by any Vishaya Vasana, it takes our attention away from ourselves. So ultimately, all Vishaya Vasanas are bad. But obviously, some are more harmful than others. So we need to, those that are less harmful, those that are more harmful, we should try our best to avoid being swayed by them. Those that are less harmful, if we try to avoid being swayed by one, we'll be swayed by another. So the key to success in this path is cultivating this love to be self-attentive. To the extent to which we are self-attentive, we are thereby, when we are attending to ourselves, we are not allowing ourselves to be swayed by any Vishaya Vasana. In other words, we're not allowing our attention to go away from ourselves. So to the extent to which we are self-attentive, we are thereby nourishing and strengthening the Sat Vasana and weakening the Vishaya Vasanas. So the key is being self-attentive. We cannot battle with all our Vishaya Vasanas. It will be an impossible task. All we need to do, this is why Bhagavan was very positive and he gave us very practical advice. He advised us to cling to self-attentiveness as much as possible. And he said, to the extent to which we cling to self-attentiveness, to that extent the Vishaya Vasanas will decrease in strength. So the key is clinging to self-attentiveness. Yes, regarding you, Dean, you say, would the best course for followers of Bhagavan to be to continue such activities such as these as usual, but to try to maintain awareness of ourself, the watcher or reader, when doing these activities? Yes, whatever we are doing, that is, no activity in itself takes our attention away from ourselves. It's because of it's we who allow our attention to go away from ourselves. So the more we try to hold on to self-attentiveness, the less our attention will be going away from ourselves. So that is the key. Whatever the mind, speech, or body may be doing, or if they're doing nothing, whether they're doing or not doing, our aim should be to try to hold on to self-attentiveness as much as possible. So yes, to a certain extent, we can allow the less harmful activities to go on. But even in the midst of those activities, we should be trying to cultivate more and more love to attend to ourselves. The more love we have to attend to ourselves, the more our interest in these other activities will wane. It'll decrease.